everyone, to the LEC, where I'm very excited to have Caps join us at the Analyst desk to talk about their victory and, of course, preview the match of the week in just a second. Mad Lions versus Fnatic. Wow, Caps, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about Romain and how he took you, I guess, in the air to celebrate? Does that happen often?
Actually, I think it was planned a few weeks ago, like maybe 3 losses ago, that that someone was gonna get carried, and we didn't really get to carry anyone.
No.
It was some unfortunate games, but luckily Romain has been working out a lot, and he's in great shape to carry me around.
I think you carried G2 also a little bit today. It was very good. By the way, we have Broxah here, so this is a bit of a reunion, which is nice.
Hello.
Hello.
Awesome. So I think we're going to start by asking you a little bit about this BDS game, but of course we want to talk a little bit about Misfits later as well. Tell me about the choice to go for the Sylas. We know you're very, very proficient on the pick. Why in this composition against their composition?
I mean, there were a lot of mid-bans this game, so we were kind of looking through the result, like the last minute, I guess, picks. And Sylas were kind of good, especially against like Hecarim ult is really strong, Varus is super strong, Asylio. Like, there's so many good ults, and the lane is also kind of fine. So yeah, we thought that we can actually just kind of dive onto them later in the game with Sylas.
I have a quick comment about that. I'm just gonna reference a relatively popular video back from our Fnatic days. Were you sure, Caps? Like, were you actually sure that Sylas was the right pick there?
It's gonna win us the game.
Oh my gosh, I hope everyone
go.
got the reference, but this is harking back to the famous Vayne pick, which was like league history. Caps in general, obviously yesterday was probably a really difficult game, so I'd just like to get your thoughts on what happened there and how as a team you work through that when it comes to then after the game talking about kind of the issues.
I mean, yes, the game was so troll. I mean, the thing is, we've been obviously scrimming a bunch, but also something we started doing was doing like the warm-ups as well. And and the warm-ups, when we got like really far ahead, we were like, okay, like we'll win the game if we get this far ahead. So let's just pause them so we can like get more practice in, right? And then we went on stage and we were so far ahead, like extremely far. It might have been our best early game ever. And we were probably just thinking like, okay, the game is in good hands. I mean, it was in really good hands, and we thought that we would just end it as fast as possible. Then we died, and we thought, okay, let's still end it. I mean, we were still 10k ahead, I think, after dying, all of us. So we just kept thinking, okay, let's try and end it. And at some point we realized, like, oh, wait, they're like 5 levels ahead of us now. Like, they got a lot of super minions. It's like the classic solo queue throw.
Oh my god.
And then it was just pain the next 20 minutes. They're sitting in their base, and Akali is running around with Yuumi. Anywhere she goes, she will just kill someone. So it was definitely not the easiest game. No,
not the easiest game. Super annoying as well with that Yuumi, indeed. But you bounce back, rather. Today, you're also going to join us in just a little bit for Mad versus Fnatic. So before we get to that, we want to take a look at the Match of the Week video, because coming up is a battle between 2 teams with very completely different trajectories. Fnatic is fighting for first, while Mad is fighting for survival in the LG Ultra Gear Match of the Week.
This has already been the rockiest of starts for the reigning champions Mad Lions, but going from 2 back-to-back titles to failing to even reach those playoffs would be devastating.
No way do you do this twice! Oh, he's knocked up by the Baron! He couldn't get back in!
Fast improvement from this Mad roster is now non-negotiable. They must rediscover the spark of brilliance this team showed in previous seasons. As we arrive at the penultimate week of spring, teams are fast approaching their last chance of making it to playoffs.
We are not allowed to I guess mess up again, so we just want to be as good as possible. And it would be really, really disappointing to not make it into playoffs, because I'm having a really good roster, and it would just be sad if we didn't make it.
Elyoya might find an engagement. 5-man ultimate!
Block the stun, they now want to turn and burn.
Elyoya!
And again, another combo. Purchase gets instantly deleted.
Excel at arm's length, Armut jumps across the wall. In a good position to assassinate someone. Hextech gate by Finn. He's going to get onto the back line. Armut tries to get in. Nuke up post a stopwatch. Reeker stepping forward, the Chaos Storm, and Armut finds the shutdown.
It's kind of rough going 0-4 in the last 2 weeks, but we know exactly what we need to work on and shift our mindset a bit.
I honestly have no idea why they're having problems. I think they should be higher in the standings. It always takes new teams a lot of time to reach their normal level. We should just give them more time and then we will see. Of course, not before we play them on the weekend, we're gonna stomp them.
For Fnatic though, the chance to find first place in the regular season is by no means out of sight. They are playing to take that top spot from Rogue, and to show that Fnatic dominance is finally back and more deadly than ever.
And now Elyoya's got to do it all. It's on him. Elyoya knocked up. Elyoya down. A quadra kill for Humanoid.
Oh, Humanoid says, do you miss me now, Elyoya? Quadra kill for the Viktor. My eyes were on Elyoya the entire fight, but Humanoid was the one who was untouched.
It seems as if the prodigal son of Mad Lions is returning to put the final nail in the coffin of his old squad.
Humanoid goes in, goes golden, a bit of a Messiah play to kick things off. Caps, though, will not go down. The shield coming up just in time to stop the execution, but it does not matter because finally, Fnatic will look to find the win.
Upsets on the chase, and Vitality thought they had collapsed, but it's Fnatic doing the collapsing. Upset on a killing spree, round walk behind them as Hylissang continues to flash in for the engage. What else but that from Hylissang?
This is a match for Mad Lions' life and pride in the LEC. Will Fnatic crush their dreams? Find out this Saturday.
And it is this Saturday. It's time for the match of the week. Fnatic versus the Mad Lions. Caps, first off, Fnatic obviously won in the match of the week versus you guys. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Yesterday also played very well. Do you think they are the best team in the league right now? And generally, what do you think about how they've been playing?
I do think they are the second best team in the league. I think they are playing really well, especially the last few weeks. It feels like they have found more of their they have their kind of found the way they want to play the game, which is playing very heavily through bot, right? A lot of roaming mids. Wunder is kind of put on an island a lot of the time, and it's working really well for them. So we'll see if that's just what they're gonna go do again in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking that I really like the idea of asking a G2 player if Fnatic is the best team.
Yes,
I was just thinking,
bad.
I was really hoping, I was so worried for you, Caps, about the reactions if you're actually yeah, Fnatic is just so much better
Okay,
than
so
we are.
in my defense, this is like a talking point we prepared, and I really just zoned out and I just asked the G2 player. My bad, but I think you handled that very, very well. Regardless, I want to talk a little bit about their strengths then, and maybe about the mid lane, because you've been playing against Humanoid now for a long time, and you've both developed a lot in that time. What do you think about how he's playing now, and what do you think his strengths are?
What is it called? He's playing a lot of roaming mids, and I think he's playing really well. Obviously last year he won two splits. I think from listening in on a lot of the other players in the team, it sounds like he has a very good idea of playing mid game. I know they talk a lot about him shot calling, I think, for the team in mid game, and setting up a lot of plays, and especially when he plays the roaming mids like TF Ryze, he is very good at finding angles to get picks in mid game, which they're really good at utilizing. So I think that's probably his biggest strengths. Obviously, he is not just a one trick either. He also has a solid champ pool, so it's not like you can just ban him out super easily. But I think that's his biggest strengths.
What do you think is the biggest difference between you and Humanoid?
I think that's a lot of differences. I feel like the what's it called? A lot of people banning the roaming mids against us. I guess the last few weeks they've kind of been banned a lot. So we don't really get to play them as much. So I feel like I've been playing a lot of scaling mids the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously yesterday we got to play Arya and roam around the map a lot. But I feel like we are maybe better at getting early leads, and they are better at getting mid game leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of that, Ari, when we get to pick and ban, because I'd kind of love to know. It's a contentious point. But I also want to know what you think about the Mad Lions. Obviously, they won 2 back-to-back championships, and that roster looks completely different, and they have been struggling. What do you think is kind of their biggest issue right now?
I think if you look at the top teams, they all have very defined strategies to play. I mentioned earlier that Fnatic plays really heavily through bot with a roaming mid, and I think Rogue also and Misfits also have a very straight up playstyle when you play against them. But Mad Lions, they always feel like they're coming in with something new. They're very playing unorthodox picks as well, and they're like, I don't know, playing on some new things all the time. I feel like we're doing something similar, and it is for sure a lot worse early on in spring, and also like in B1s, right? Because I mean, practice makes perfect, and if you practice something a lot, you're going to be really good at it. And Mad Lions have just been playing all over the place. I think that makes it hard for them, especially because they have 2 rookies, and I think like they haven't really found something like super comfortable for them yet.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. We also saw Elyoya yesterday. He looked super defeated. We're going to take a look at the strength of schedule of the matches that Matt is still going to have to play, because obviously they need to win a lot to get into those playoffs. Broxah, can you identify with kind of seeing Elyoya being in the position of being one of the remaining members now with the new players around him? I guess he feels like the world's on his shoulders right now.
I think in general, when you're a player, missing playoffs, like even the thought of missing playoffs is like pretty devastating for a lot of reasons. Obviously, it's only spring, you could say.
Yeah.
Worlds is the biggest thing as a player, but at the same time, I don't think any of these players, I don't think anyone expected this downfall from Mad Lions, really. And Elyoya, last year being considered one of, if not the best jungler in our region, obviously, I'm sure came into the split with a lot of expectations. Now, you know, when you're a professional league player, I'm sure Caps knows this as well, it's just your life. It's everything that we care about. It's everything that we do. So when things are not going your way, it feels like your life is just falling apart, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We are getting into picks and bans. So hopefully for Matt, they can turn it around. If they lose this game, they need a 3-0 super week next week to make it into the playoffs. They're playing Vitality, BDS, and Astralis. And I feel like you want to have some more time or options left to make it to those playoffs. We're getting into the draft now for our match of the week. Fnatic versus Mad Lions. Here we go then. It is time for our picks and bans. We'll see what the priorities are. I just want to get this quick question in there. Caps, Ahri. Obviously, after the buffs, people are picking her up more, but she doesn't have a lot of success. What place does she have in a draft nowadays?
I mean, I think she is very, like, I think she can be really strong. Like, she was doing, I think we were doing quite well with her early game yesterday. But at some point, especially against some mid lane champs, she just kind of gets like outscaled, or she doesn't really have like the damage you need. Which is why some people have started building Ahri as an AD carry, basically, with Kraken Slayer, to get the late game damage. But we haven't seen it yet. Maybe we'll see this game.
Is there a chance we could see that next week?
I'm not saying anything. They banned it today against us, but maybe that was actually why they banned it today.
Ah, okay.
I like it.
You guys all have Captain's Cam now, but he's looking very, like, suspicious. Okay, now let's see the bans. Diana off the table. The Zeri also not getting a chance. That global power of the TF denied as well, and a Jarvan and a Jace ban.
Yeah, something that is going to be really interesting to see here, I feel like, is the jungle priority now. Fnatic banning the Diana, banning the Jarvan. Jarvan obviously means Sinsao, Hecarim are going to be open. Those are going to be the 2 priority junglers. Outside of that, the draft is pretty open. We have the 2 strong AD carries in Aphelios and Jinx. Siri out of the picture, but yeah, a lot of champions are just open right now, really.
Yeah, are we going to just see bot lane lock in again?
Probably,
I guess you got
Here
the
we
answer.
go. Does that make the draft easier or harder, Caps, the fact that there are just these 2 champions that are just going to get first picked anyway?
I mean, I guess it makes it easier, I guess, because you kind of expect what the opponent does. Unless someone really like does something unorthodox. I mean, Mad Lions was the team that actually played Caps the split, right? Although that was like week 1. But unless someone comes up with like a complete cheese draft, then it makes it kind of like predictable, I guess, what your opponents will go.
Ryze is open.
Yeah, I was about to say at this point in the draft yesterday, Mad Lions just 1-2'd Aatrox, which is probably the craziest draft I've seen this weekend. Now, at least for the time being, the playing it a bit more standard, getting the Hecarim. I'm guessing unless there's a big priority they want to secure, like the Ryze that they hovered, they're just going to log in the Aphelios here and mash the AD carry, but we'll see in just a second. They did take the Ryze.
Yeah.
Should go for the Ryze.
So now Obviously, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Caps, but the second highest pro is a mid laner from what I've seen is going to be Viktor here. Is that something you think Fnatic might opt into, knowing Viktor, knowing Humanoid?
I mean, knowing Humanoid, I mean, probably Viktor or I think I like the picks that he would like to go for. I guess he opts for the Viktor, it looks like. Which is, like, I mean, it's a good matchup for Viktor in the sense that, like, he outscales him quite hard. But obviously early game, Ryze can push and he can like try to make plays happen. But it's definitely like I'm mad to, it feels like to create something, at least like from the early draft. And yeah, I'm not sure if that's the position I want to be in, but I guess we'll have to wait and see the rest of the draft.
Yeah.
Is it so that if the enemy team locks in a certain amount of global or you know, ability to move around the map, that you always have to counter, or not necessarily?
Like if they have, like if they do what?
Like the Ryze ult, for instance, the Hecarim, you know that you have a lot of mobility and options to move around the map.
Yeah.
You always have to at least pair it?
Like match it? I mean, like, what's it called? Fnatic didn't really match it this game, I guess. They just kind of went for like the opposite of where Viktor will just farm, and then it's like if Ryze roams, then he better get a lot of going because Viktor will just farm. And if Ryze roams, maybe he'll go do some camps as well. And then at some point he will probably just carry the game, unless like Reeker gets enough done, right? And that's why I'm a bit worried for Mad Lions, because I feel like I haven't really seen Reeker get like enough work done so far this split. And I feel like he's kind of on, like he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulder so far to get stuff done in this draft, I think. And I mean, we will have to see top lane matchups. We will have to see like support matchups still, right? There's a world that they create like a kind of easy way for him to do stuff, but so far it's not like looking too hard for Matt, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's basically what Fnatic is saying right now as well. It's like they go for arguably a pretty greedy draft, getting the Jinx, getting the Viktor, just getting like a lot of scaling, while Mad Lions is gonna have the potential to snowball the early game and push it forward, but they're not really knowing for playing the mid game too well. So Fnatic just kind of relying on Matt not having the cleanest early mid game and then taking over in the later stages.
Broxah, I think you said earlier in the day that you want to see Mad have easy comps to execute, relatively easy, straightforward. Is that what you're getting from this draft?
I wouldn't really say so. I think this draft is going to be pretty hard for them to execute, obviously. Some of the champions are pretty straightforward, like the Hecarim, like the Aphelios. I think Ryze is also a great pick, but as Caps mentioned earlier, it's like a playmaker. And if played well, it can be really hard to play into, but it does require a certain amount of execution. Aatrox, I feel like it's kind of the same thing. What I was thinking when I said I would like to see an easy to execute comp, I mean, let's say the Aatrox is an Ornn, for example. Now, Ornn is not played very much, but then you have a very simple go button, you know. Everyone just jumps right in when Ornn presses the horn, and it's pretty easy for everyone to understand the game plan. And now, there was a fair amount of support bans. The only role that's left to pick, really, Caps, what do you think they're going to pick?
Boom.
I guess it's really Pyke. I didn't even have to ask you. What do you think Matt is going to pick into Hylissang Pyke?
I mean, I guess Rakan is like the best matchup, probably one of the better ones at least. But honestly, looking at the draft, I see 2 arcane champions on one side, and the other side doesn't have any arcane champions. So I think it's going to be a hard one. But I hope Mad Lions can prove me wrong and show up this game.
That is the good old Caps logic I like. Actually, that reminds me, Caps, you played with a skin the other day. That is something you never used to do. What happened?
What's going on?
I mean, season 11, 0 skins, 0 trophies. I think the first few weeks were not going too well either. So I had to betray my own conscience to maybe get some wins.
I like it. I like it. Both the P capitalized and the playing the skins. We're throwing everything in. Yeah, Caps. Yeah. Now that you've seen the draft, can I have your prediction? Who's going to win and why, based on the draft?
I mean, I think, as I meant, like I just think Fnatic will win this game. I do think Matt's draft is not bad, but I just feel like they're putting maybe the responsibility in like the wrong hands. I would have liked to see them have left side draft, while Fnatic might be better at snowballing early. It would have at least given them like a better shot, I think, and just like outscaling and hoping that Fnatic throw. This time around, it's like I feel like they have to kind of be proactive, which I just haven't seen from them yet. But we will have to wait and see, right?
We will have to wait and see indeed. Thank you so much for assisting the draft, Caps. It is time for our match of the week, Fnatic versus the Mad Lions.
And into the game we go for the final time here in week 7. Only 3 games remain for every single team apart from these 2, of course, who have got this one to play ahead of us for the next 30 minutes or so. Hi, I'm Medic, he's Dagda. We are here for some League of Legends.
And I'm so ready for this game. I've been looking forward to this for a long old time. I mean, look, Mad, they have had some struggles, don't get me wrong. Their team fighting has at times looked a bit ropey, but it feels like when you end up with Mad Lions against Fnatic, it's always a banger.
Yeah, it always is. Of course, last time they played was Hylissang, who took over the game, had a dominant performance, was involved in so much in the early game and was teaming up very well with Razork as well. And here on the Pyke Jinx combination, something we've seen a few times from Fnatic in the bottom lane. I'm expecting some early action. I'm expecting Hylissang to look for an early flash hook, burn Unforgiven's flash, and then we'll see the rest of Fnatic coming down and trying to make plays.
And that's the thing, those stats were on a thresh where you think, oh yeah, he's probably going to stay a little bit around that Jinx on the bottom side of the map, keep her safe. But no, Roman mid for Humanoid making those plays. Now on a Pyke, you'll have to see if he can have the impact that we've seen so many times from Hylissang. And as you say, loves to play this aggressively and early, and already Fnatic getting in, making sure they're getting that vision down so they can spot out that they are able to go for these aggressive plays. Even looking to split the map, it looks like, by taking this blue move.
And Razork will get the blue. Mad Lions unaware that this has happened. We'll see the path that Upset and Hylissang take into this lane. What they'll want to do is hug this wall or even come through the tri-bush to make it look like Razork's actually started as red. They're a little late to the wave, but they are here for the first 3 minions, meaning that Mad Lions might have some inkling this is happening, but can't be totally sure that Razork didn't just start at his own red.
And the thing is, right, you're damned if you don't in this bot lane for Mad Lions. As Hilly is going to play this super aggressive, constantly fish for hooks. If you see control of that, Upset and Hilly have some of the best wave management in the league. Probably the best bot lane wave management that I've seen in the LEC. So you end up having the opportunity here for Upset to crash that 4th wave. He'll reset, he gets the cull, and then he just very quickly starts to outpace Aphelios in this bottom side without having any sort of jungle intervention as well. So this is where you'll see it's just so hard to play against this style from Fnatic.
You see the 2 early wards from the Mad bot lane trying to spot out Hylissang if he did go for one of those dives across the wall into a hook. Kaiser took E first on the Rakan as Humanoid counter flashes in the mid lane. Flash for flash burn.
Reactions.
Was very fast there. Of course, the Spell Flux into Rune Prison combination can be almost instantaneous. Does still have a short cast time. But flash for flash means that Mad can look to repeat gank that lane.
And Humanoid as well is playing like a very aggressive style of lane here. We've seen first strike a lot from Victor's in this lane because you can see, poke from afar, you get a ton of gold, but Humanoid wants to beat out Reeker in lane, make sure he's constantly shoving in this lane. And as you can see at the moment, Reeker has to back. This isn't the best timing window for him. He'll just about be able to pick up his tier, but you're not really getting back into lane where you're full mana, full health, right as you're about to hit that level 6 around the 5.5 minute to 6 minute mark. So Reeker going to have to probably need another reset now before he can get access onto the map. And that's all the Fnatic are trying to do is buy time, make sure that Reeker can't actually influence these side lanes.
With the push in the bottom lane, Hylissang and Upset able to steal away that bot side. Scuttle Crab means that Elyoya will not get any of the Tasty Crab to start this one up. Upset comes through as well, and Elyoya wasn't spotted with the zap, but they had an awareness that he could be in the area. And just these small sequence of events have led to about a 500 gold lead for Fnatic in the early game. And this is what they do so well. They eke you out of the game. They get these early advantages and they shut you out of being able to do too much. What they have been doing a lot is looking for first tower, especially around upset down towards that bottom lane. They get as much gold funneled into, especially this Jinx, as they can in the early game.
And again, like, yes, you do get pressure from Razork down to the bottom lane, but it's the way Upset and Hilly play the lane after that's there. It's these freezes that they set up, the ability to get, like, the slow pushes going. And the reason we're seeing that crazy hype first tower is how well Fnatic are at playing around, okay, do we try to trade for a Rift Herald or do we just try and look for plates instead? And it makes it very difficult for you to actually try and win out against this bottom lane. It's why, for me, Upset and Hilly are the best bot lane in the LEC right now.
Definitely agree with you there. I think Hylissang is up in contention, probably top of my list for split MVPs as well.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
Viego made a name for himself yesterday. Kaiser here trying to block this. The Ignite on Unforgiven though. Hylissang, he knew that Kaiser would try and block the hook and he's like, okay, I'll just put down an Ignite. Both of them step far enough away from the Rakan that they're not hit with the knockup, and it's all just about tempo plays. It's about upsetting your enemies. It's about making it so that they don't have good backs, and now Unforgiven and Kaiser have to stay around to catch the wave that's going to push into them, and they're at a double longsword disadvantage in the match.
And Upset and Hilly have full control over the bot wave. It's slowly pushing in, but if you try and reset as Kaiser and Unforgiven, they just pick up the pace at which they collapse this.
Kaiser's going to get caught, dances away with that E, and is able to escape.
And now for Upset and Hilly, you can crash this, and as you can see, Razork going for the invade. If you want to, you could actually try and fight and skirmish in this bot side, because Humanoid has push in mid, you've got full control bot, you have item advantage on your bot lane as well, and you can see Fnatic instead are just going, right, we are just going to look for this dragon, knowing we've got full control over this bot side.
Going to end up with about a net 10 CS lead for Upset and Hylissang, and you see, like, there were no summoners burnt on the side of Mad. All that was used by Fnatic was a single Ignite, but because of the way that they played this map state, because of the way they played around the early game, they invade, they have built up a sizable lead already. Mad Lions need to try and strike, and they're going to do that through Reeker, who has the Realm Warp. Elyoya forces Hylissang away. Now the Ghost Water Dive can get you to safety. He still has the flash here as well, and will get across the wall. It looks like he's going to be able to escape. Hylissang does have to burn his flash.
So nice job from Mad to, get those resources out of Fnatic, but Fnatic still managing to step away, and you're still kind of getting those small little advantages onto Fnatic's side with the dragon taken, and it's still pretty hard to punish Hilly not having that flash, just with how slippery this Pyke is.
Reeker, remember, doesn't have a flash of his own. They were traded in the mid lane. Reeker forced away from this minion wave. One of them did crash in, but the rest of them can be held by Humanoid, as Hylissang continues just to be a nuisance across the entire map.
And one of the things that we're going to see is that because we're getting all this attention down bot side, Wunder is just going to slowly build up this lead in top side. You're already seeing a small CS lead for himself, but this is a pretty good matchup for the Gwen, especially running Ignite, the Grievous Wounds it applies. It makes it really difficult for Armut to try and balance, the big engage, the low health, and the heals that this Aatrox really wants to try and play around.
For the moment, Fnatic very happy with the way the early game is going. Mad Lions, though, across the course of Spring, have been able to develop some early game leads. You can see third in the league for gold difference at the 14-minute mark through the entirety of the split. However, where they're really let down is their team fighting. They are 9th in teamfight KD, so that's how many kills they get per death in teamfights. And that's such a different story to the Mad Lions we knew of old. They would fall, 10,000 gold behind, and they would be able to teamfight their way back. This year, it just hasn't quite looked the same as it did in 2021.
And a lot of that is how these team fights are set up. It doesn't really feel like they're able to establish the kind of front to back that you would like, and not getting the vision control that you kind of need before you go into these fights. It's just been a bit unfortunate for Mad Lions in the way that they've been trying to orchestrate themselves. And I don't even think it's, down to individual mechanics or individual mistakes. It's kind of team as a whole not really getting onto the same page about how they want to try and approach this.
Let's see if they're able to find that level of coordination in this game, because they need it. Currently sitting at 5 and 9 outside of the playoff picture. A loss here would take them down to 3% of scenarios where they make it into playoffs. 2-time LEC champions last year, as they fall from grace to be sure, but they still have everything at their disposal to try and fight back. Razork's going to steal his second blue of the game, teaming up with Hylissang. Reeker's on the way. No Realm Warp for him, though, and Fnatic will just be able to walk away from this.
It feels like this is far more comfortable for Mad Lions, though. than we saw yesterday. When we looked at yesterday, they kind of ended up in this weird pick composition that didn't really work out. You saw Armut kind of getting the game taken away from him very quickly with the Kled from Finn. So I definitely think that now that he's got the Aatrox, it's still not the best of matchups, but at least he can have a little bit of an easier time than he did yesterday. And with the approach that Matt can get to this game, with the front-to-back team fights, with Armut in theory being able to find some flanks, there is still the opportunity for them to go against Fnatic. It's just Fnatic have been so strong when it comes to team fights. It just looks like there isn't any way you can kind of break through them.
Probably the strongest team in the league at the moment, although Rogue continue to make a case for themselves. Humanoid has built up about a 15 CS lead, 20 almost, as Mad move up towards this top side. Fnatic don't seem to be willing to give this one up. Where are we in terms of level 6? None on the supports, everyone else has those ultimates. We'll see if this fight really does begin. 2000 HP on the Rift Herald. Razork forced low by Unforgiven. Rift Herald smited. Wunder forced off towards the top side, pulled back by the infernal chains, and Wunder was separated from his team. Mad Lions strike first.
Couldn't get the hop over the wall, and it means that Wunder goes down. You also get that Rift Herald, and we were just praising at the start of this how good Fnatic were kind of trading the objective of the Rift Herald for plates on bot side, and they decide not to go for it, try to take the fight, and Mad Lions punish really well there.
Yeah, to get the first kill on the board. We'll have another look at it because the teams all wanted this fight. You can see how late Upset is to the battle.
Yeah, and this is because you've seen so many roams from Hilly. Upset isn't actually able to get that push. There you can see just getting that pull back so you don't get the hop over the wall as Wunder. And now Fnatic will find themselves just a little bit on the back foot here. The goal is still in favor of Fnatic just by 300, but Mad Lions should be able to get control with this Rift Herald, and especially as you see both Fnatic bot lanes up in this top side, I wouldn't be surprised to see Elyoya just roam bot here and try and plonk that Rift Herald down straight off the bat.
Yeah, Upset and Hilly moved up here straight after that Rift Herald fight. They want to try and force Armut a little bit on edge. Armut doesn't have the World Ender, but does have a flash. Razork coming in with the Harrowed Path. Infernal Chains going down. Heartbreaker short. Armut will flash away from it. Elyoya has pushed in towards that bottom side jungle, but only the Razor Beaks for him if he wants them.
But don't forget, Mad Lions can still trade up here, because you can go tower for tower, that's all well and good, but Dragon's about to spawn. So Mad Lions then push in bot, you fall back to Dragon, and you still end up trading up. And in theory, it's the AD carries that are still getting all this gold alongside the jungler, so you're reasonably alright. The only thing I will say though is, because you don't have the Rift Herald on top side, you don't really have that big tempo advantage, and that could be where Mad Lions not only get the Dragon and the tower, but come back out onto the map and make another play again.
Unforgiven not with the best guns to take down this tower, really. When you're looking to take down a turret, you want Crescendum, you want that white gun, but Severum Q does do a little bit of work. Rift Herald goes down. This charge won't quite kill off the tower. It's about 2 plates it will remove, and so that tower does stand. Meanwhile, in the top side, you can see as well, Armut was able to keep Upset at bay. And the AD carries about even gold across the course of that trade. 200 the difference between them. It's a 500 gold lead for Humanoid in the mid lane, but Elyoya off to a strong start on this Hecarim.
I want to see though if we're going to get Wunder resetting here, because yes, you will have Upset collect this wave in top, but realistically you want Upset here for the fight that's about to kick off, and Upset is sitting on a lot of gold as well, so would love to be able to get the damage, but yeah, Demolish and Hullbreaker as well. The increase in damage from Hullbreaker with that Demolish is just insane.
And I love the Hullbreaker rush, especially if you're going Demolish on the Aatrox, because you know you are going to have some time with that tower. Yes, Gwen can do quite a lot of damage, but World Ender gives you the movement speed, you've got a dash as well. You can escape from a fight that's beginning, and you actually see Mad giving up, ceding control of the bottom side river here to give Armut a little bit more time with this tower, to give him a little bit of extra gold. Upset is working his way up there. I wonder if Fnatic know. Now, Hylissang is in the area. Armut's going to get 4 plates, 3 plates right now out of it. Wunder's answering. The Hextech Drake taken by Razork. Actually, looks like Reeker has backed away, as has Elyoya. So Mad don't want to go for a dive up towards that top lane.
It's priority differences here on both sides, right? Fnatic are focusing on the Dragon. They want to make sure that they're able to start to stack and rack these guys. 2 already in the back pocket. Late game team fighters, Dragons are wonderful for you. When you're looking at Mad Lions, they want to get some much needed gold back in Armut's pocket. He hasn't had the best of times in this matchup, so getting some of that gold is going to be really good, but might get caught out here.
Hylissang, flash, stun. There's the pullback. Armut, though, with the World Ends, can try and turn it around onto Upset, who has the Gale Force to get away from the Infernal Chains. A little bit of missed synergy there. The hook brought Armut away from the Flame Chompers. Obviously, you kind of want him going into them, but be too surprising that you can miss a small thing like that. Armut able to dodge away from the Super Mega Death Rocket. Reeker taking the tower in the bot lane. He might be caught out though. What can he do against Razork? Does have the flash. Room for his first phase rush for the movement speed. Flashes away the Spectral Maw. You're going to hit it. Razork just clips the edge. Reeker though with the Realm Warp will try and escape. And the Needle Works are not quite enough. Reeker with a good escape from that fight to the bottom lane. Hylissang staying around here. But look at where Kaiser is as well. So here's the thing. If you don't know Kaiser's there, you can go for this play. Kaiser's now backing away. Hylissang will spot Unforgiven. Kaiser actually finishes his recall. The stun's going to land. Is there any chase potential here? With the zap going down, Unforgiven very willing to take that 2v1.
Nicely kind of orchestrated by Unforgiven, especially when Unforgiven, we haven't really seen him get a huge amount of pressure coming through from his team. He's been silently, or at least in games past, he's been silently getting a little bit more in this game and doing well with it now. Kind of standing up confidently against upsetting Hilly. And now getting some of those turret plates as well. So in the grand scheme of things, I mean, this game is still very, very even. And one of the things that we talked about with Mad Lions is that their early game is actually pretty good, right? Like, they are playing this really well in the map state, and you can see the decisions that are coming through from them. It's just a case of how does this then feed over into their team fights. It feels like you've got a very strong, very simple front-to-back style here from Mad Lions. I just need to see that consistently played through, because if Fnatic end up picking up, you know, 1 or 2 team fights, this Jinx and this Viktor get accelerated, it becomes really difficult then for Mad to try and win these fights.
For the moment, Mad with about 1,000 gold lead as they took the first tower of the game. They're setting up towards this Rift Herald once again. We're spawning in the next minute. There's the quickness onto Hylissang. He's going to dive across the wall, but the chase is on Onslaught of Shadows. Into a final swipe of the axe from Elyoya, takes the kill. That Scythe living up to its name, Elyoya, the Grin Reaper so far this game. Both of Mad's kills sitting on him. Humanoid is forced away, and this is good play. What are Fnatic doing on the rest of the map? Not much is the answer.
And this is the risk you have when you take this Pyke. You need to get that snowball going, because when you get into these team fights, if I'm going, hey, who would I prefer, a Rakan or a Pyke for a team fight? It's going to be that Rakan. And even there you can see it. Hilly's trying to move in to get vision to look for a pick, to try and play towards the strengths of the Pyke, but he's just not able to do that. And now Mad, they're the ones that are on the Rift Herald. They're the ones with controlling Razork, trying to peek his head in, but I don't know what. Mad's going to look for the reset. I'm kind of surprised that they went for that.
It was a little weird on the delay, perhaps wondering if they could take the fight in the end, realize, well, we're a bit outnumbered as Upset and Hylissang are here first, so Razork and Fnatic will secure the first Rift Herald.
I think they're a bit worried about Wunder's TP timer. Maybe they were slightly off on it because it's just about to come up. So maybe they're a bit worried that you could have that TP come in. We're past the 14-minute mark, so the TP is unleashed. You can move to basically all the wards that are around here. So Fnatic will just manage to take that one for themselves. Mad, a bit late to the party.
Kaiser's going to be stunned here. Realm Warp coming in as they look for the chase onto Humanoid, but this is very split from Mad Lions. Elyoya going in, TP now from Wunder. Humanoid forced away, knocked back with the Stampede, but already Reeker's down, and now Elyoya's running for the hills. No Onslaught of Shadows available to him, and that was just all over the place for Mad. Fnatic strike back with 2 kills of their own.
But I don't even get the thought process there, right? We just said Mad are thinking, hey, maybe the TP's up for Wunder, so they know that there's going to be a numbers advantage here for Fnatic. Now, you have to get the reset and you get to spend the gold, but you know that Armut can't follow. He has no TP, so it's always going to be the 4 versus 5.
And now with the Rift Herald charging in, Fnatic won't look for the tower here. They just want the damage on that tier 2. You can see Humanoid going to catch and push in that bottom lane. Reeker actually TPing to it to try and get the push of his own, because Dragon is up within the next 60 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds until that one's up. But we'll see here. Hilly in a nice position. You've got cover here for Humanoid on the top side. Jinx is on her way. And you know that Gwen for Wunder has this TP as well. You can see it instantly channeled as soon as they move up towards Humanoid. And again, Mad completely separated. Unforgiven and Kaiser aren't even a factor in this fight. And this is something that we've seen consistently from Mad Lions team fight. No, people aren't on the same page. They aren't setting up for these team fights correctly, and the damage isn't there in this scenario.
Now they have to set up for this team fight. No needle work on Wunder, but ultimates across the board apart from the Realm Warp for the Mad Lions. Flashes as well. Reeker's about to be off cooldown, but can Mad Lions find the fight? Because if they can't, this will be sole point for Fnatic. The flank, an option from Armut. He's going to be on a control ward though, and spotted now by Fnatic. Unforgiven, Severum Infernum, his guns. Kaiser going in with the charm, but Humanoid has a stopwatch. Razork still healthy. Humanoid locked up and shut down by Reeker. Hylissang off towards the top side as Mad turn back towards the Dragon. They will get it. Fnatic forced away 1-0 in favor of Mad.
Great engage from Elyoya there, setting up beautifully to get the pick onto Humanoid, and Humanoid is the large portion of Fnatic's damage right now as we're still waiting for this Jinx for upset to ramp up. And with that Viktor gone, Mad Lions get the dragon and will back away safely. Really good fight there for Mad.
And the important thing for Mad is they've delayed. You know, they got to a point where one more misstep, we've seen Fnatic roll a game from there before. If they're on Soul Point and an Infernal Soul, to say less, it would be very difficult for Mad to find fights. But this, as you say, is a great engage from Elyoya, and then Kaiser there with the follow-up.
Yeah, there's no vision in the pit, so Elyoya playing around that really well. Fnatic thought that their biggest threat was on the side, but Elyoya just comes swinging in over the wall, and you can see their upset not really getting any sort of damage down. And this combo that we see between the Viego and the Pyke not really coming to fruition there because no one's low enough to start these resets rolling through on Fnatic's side.
And that will be a sign of things to come for Mad Lions if they're able to continue to find those fights. The quickness lasting longer than a stopwatch really helps Kaiser there as well, because you don't have to perfectly time your knockup on towards Humanoid. You know if you are there when the Zhonya's ends, you will get the charm into the knockup and there's no escape for the Viktor. Mad Lions with about a 500 gold lead, but even Stevens really between these two teams as we get up towards the 20-minute mark. And that actually hasn't really been the way these two teams have met up in the past. It has been more Mad Lions favored than I think a lot of people would care to admit. 10-6 in terms of head-to-head. Mad Lions consistently winning the regular season. And of course, in 2021, they dominated. Wunder here looking for the kill in the top lane. Will be forced away by Armut underneath that tower. But this year, Fnatic have seen reborn, renewed with this team made up of some great component parts. You know, Razork from Misfits, Wunder coming over from G2 as well. And I think when people saw this team on paper, they had high hopes. Fnatic have lived up to those so far.
And I think that's the big difference. 2022 is a completely different year for Mad Lions. And we can
for everyone,
for everyone, true, yeah.
May not feel like it sometimes, but
may still feel like we're in 2019 at certain points, but either way, I still think for Mad Lions, the biggest problem that they have is that going even Steven right now hasn't really accelerated the pace of the game in the way they want. Yes, Reeker will get really big, but Humanoid is going to be able to do a lot more in these fights, especially when it comes towards like keeping Forgiven honest with the zone control he offers and the long range damage. You're looking at Wunder being able to take over against Armut on the side lane. We're already starting to see that happen. So the windows of opportunity for Mad are starting to slowly diminish. And a lot of that is thanks to how good Humanoid was at controlling Reeker in the early stages. We never really saw these round warps doing particularly much in side lanes. And now Wunder once more up against Armut, just seeing if he can tickle down these towers.
Armut, even with the hull breakup, isn't able to consistently force that Gwen out of lane. Wunder, of course, running Ignite Teleport. No flash on the Gwen. Sometimes we've been seeing a bit of Ghost Gwen as well recently, but the Ignite makes sense into an Aatrox where that grievous wounds, that healing reduction can play a big factor. For the moment, it feels like we have just a couple of minutes here before the next real fight. You know, 2 minutes on the Drake. I say that Hylissang is in the game, so who knows when the next fight's going to be. But speaking of Hylissang, I love this Umbral Glaive pick. I think it's really good on Pyke, especially in pro play, just because of how much control you can get in terms of vision. One auto attack is enough to kill any ward you spot, apart from control wards, of course, which take 2. And because of that, Mad Lions' vision has been really just removed from the map. You can see they have 2 control wards, and that's about it right now.
So what we're actually kind of seeing here from Fnatic, right, is a trade on different sides of the map. I'm going to try this again. But they had set up a whole bunch of vision control on this bottom side that now got cleared out. That was in these 3 positions. Now that's been finished out by Mad Lions. So instead, what we're trying to see from Fnatic here is they're trying to establish vision control in these areas. So when Dragon comes up, what I imagine that we're actually going to see is that Mad Lions are going to go and try and contest that on the bottom side. And instead, Fnatic are going to try and draw Mad Lions up through River where they have all their vision and control. And it makes it very easy for them to find picks with Hilly, to find members of Mad Lions. Especially if Mad Lions are fully committed to taking this Dragon. You can try and either 1, burst the Baron, but 2, just outnumber Mad in that Baron area.
So it's Fnatic to have first move. Hook going on to Kaiser. Hylissang chunked a little bit. Elyoya looking for the engage. There's the quickness. Wunder caught out. Wunder just locked in place. No escape for him as he falls. And Mad Lions just find the single pick. Will they look for more? The Dragon, their prize, you feel, in 20 seconds time.
And this is why I wanted them to play towards topside. You've established vision on the top side. You've cleared it out. But Kaiser!
Hooked back, but Hylissang so low, and the Moonlight Vigil enough. Alun helps Unforgiven find his mark. Another kill over to the Aphelios. Fnatic now only 3 members strong, continue to fight, continue to battle, but they have lost the Infernal. Kaiser's going to dodge away here. Elyoya secures the Infernal. Armut seals away some Krugs. And Mad Lions, their team fighting looking a lot better so far this game.
And the sunk cost for Fnatic sunk even further there, where they just try to commit again and again to make sure they can try and get this dragon. But that's what I was kind of saying, like, you don't actually have the control you need for Fnatic on this bottom side. You don't have any vision on the side of Mad, you've nothing in River, but they'd already established that control on the top side. So try and draw Fnatic up towards that top side. Even look to take that tier 2 in the top lane if you really want to, but when they don't have that control, it becomes very easy for Mad to play for these picks with Kaiser, find these front-to-back fights. I mean, you don't even have Unforgiven here. They just murder people so quickly.
I mean, it's part of the problem of how do you face check into anyone on Mad Lions. You've got a Gwen, you've got a Viego, you've got a Pyke. I mean, Hylissang does a lot of work and can be a nuisance, but it becomes very difficult for him to find anything. You see the Moonlight Vigil here from Unforgiven does find its mark, and although he's had a quiet couple of weeks, I have to remember that Unforgiven was one of the shining stars on Mad Lions. Wasn't given a lot of attention, wasn't given a lot of time by the rest of the team in the early portions of the season, but was consistently playing well in team fights, maintaining laning phases, not falling too far behind, and he's done just that here as well. We praised Upset and Hylissang at the start of the game for being the best bot in Europe, and I still think they are, but in this game specifically, Unforgiven and Kaiser have had their number. Elyoya going in once again, Humanoid knocked back, Humanoid pops the stopwatch, the quickness, just stand on him, but that is a great hook. Hylissang pulled Kaiser away, the quickness didn't hit, it gave Humanoid time to flash, and now it's the Hylissang show. A double for him, a shutdown for Wunder, and Mad Lions thought they had the fight, but Hylissang did not give them an inch.
The Hilly hook hypes up Fnatic, and now they're moving in. They know they've got Baron. Hilly's on the hunt.
That he is, but he's not going to get the kill. Death from below, didn't quite do it. Hylissang still chasing in here. There's the Baron secured. Hylissang gets the stun. Oh no, wait, does he do it? Hylissang didn't even need his ultimate. Kills the enemy jungler in a 1v1.
What a man. That was great. I love when you see supports who are that aggressive, managing to pick up the kill in the jungle while they get the Baron as well. And now because Elyoya died so late comparatively, Fnatic get to reset, come out on the map, and you're still waiting on Elyoya to come through. But here you can see, right, they'll try to get this great engage onto Humanoid,
hook,
but
man.
You called it perfectly. Hilly timed this amazingly onto Kaiser. Means there's no way for Kaiser to get back, and Humanoid just able to clear the distance enough to be able to win out this fight.
A couple of things slightly mistimed. The double for Hylissang. Oh my god. So he uses the death from below with the Phantom Undertow, the E. He hits the kill and then gets the stun onto Reeker, giving them another kill on top of it. Hylissang.
He's too clean.
I mean, here's the thing, right? We said at the start of the game, I said at least, he was my #1 in terms of MVPs. I then, for a moment...
For MVP.
Yeah, all right, sure. For a moment, I said, hey, Upset and Hylissang haven't looked like the best bot lane in the West in this game. And immediately Hylissang's like, and I took that personally. Comes out, wins the fight for his team, gets them Baron, gets them a 3,000 gold lead. And now Mad Lions sitting, licking their wounds as they look at 6th place hungrily, currently sitting in 7th, 3 wins behind XL and Vitality. They can still make it if they lose this game, but it is very, very unlikely that they do.
The thing is, though, I feel like Mad are going to have learned from that, right? Keep Elyoya in front of the hooks. Make sure that you can actually get that CC, so maybe you can still have that opportunity as Mad to try and play towards that, especially as you start to see push here for Fnatic with Baron on the top side. Reeker starting to trade on this bottom side, just seeing if they can go for, you know, a 1-for-1 trade. And in this situation, that's pretty big for Mad Lions. The double resets coming through from Fnatic to deal with that push in bot side might give Kaiser a chance, but can't quite find us.
Couldn't quite get there in time. And now Reeker needs to get out of here because the rest of Fnatic are barreling down the bottom lane. Next dragon up in a minute's time. Mad Lions will be happy they were able to secure 2 in the mid game, because otherwise this would be soul for Fnatic. And as much as you say Mad Lions may have learned from that, is it too little too late? Is it a lesson taught a little bit too late for Mad, because they are dealing with a 2.5 item Jinx now, and Reeker has been spotted out on this ward, and that Zap's going to connect, and the Everfrost will not stop Hylissang. Flash away from Reeker. Fnatic do not want to take more.
And that's the difference between this Dragon and the last Dragon. Look at the vision that's been established on that bottom side for Fnatic. It's what they just spotted Reeker on. And you can look and go, well, where's the vision that exists for Mad? It's completely dark on this bottom side. And this is how you can start to look for picks with Hilly. This is how you can set up the fights. And that's why Mad trying to push in mid, see if they can get priority to move as a group through the center part of River so they can't just pick you off as you come through the jungle.
I think if you're Mad, you give this one up though. 10 seconds on it. Armut continues to push in the side lane. Get yourself a little bit more gold. Get yourself that tier 2. 600 gold going over to your team is nothing to be sniffed at, and that's exactly what they'll do. Third Dragon of the game will be secured by Fnatic as they begin to look to get towards that soul point. But Mad Lions keep the gold within about 3,000.
And the resets are coming through to protect this bot push as well. And honestly, if you're Mad Lions with that Baron going over, to only have lost the Dragon and that top tier 2, I mean, it's pretty good in the grand scheme of things. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. And now Mad back on the map should be in a position to actually start to shove out these waves. Hilly, though, still looking for these picks. We'll spot out Elyoya.
Gets the hook. Elyoya stunned up. Razork with the follow-up stun! And Hilly predicted the Onslaught of Shadows, didn't even need it. He gets the kill. Duskblade, Umbral Glaive on that Pyke doing absolute work. Razork steals away the Stampede. He's charging forward. It's the ride of the Rohirrim for Fnatic. And Razork will go back to his normal form as they look to push in this bottom lane. A couple of pings coming up onto Wunder. Perhaps Mad Lions trying to find a pick. They know they're going to lose their tier 2 here. Realm Warp going in. Armut will look for the sweet spot. Lands one. Wunder no flash on him. Turns it back around. Looking for the damage, but the Everfrost Druid is enough to lock him up in place. And he cannot find a counter kill. A 1-for-0 in the top lane at the cost of the tier 2 in the bottom.
And Fnatic are fine with that. I mean, it sucks for Wunder, but it's not a huge deal. They can get this bot lane turret, and then with everything that was invested in top, they even get the tier 2 in mid as well. That's a phenomenal trade for Wunder.
You take that 5,000 gold, now their lead. 30 minutes into the game, they are building up ahead of steam, and Upset will be able to base and probably finish off. Don't know if he actually wants to finish that Last Whisper, if he's going to go straight towards an Infinity Edge here. Just keep the Last Whisper for the percentage armor penetration it does provide.
And this is why it can be so difficult to fight against Fnatic, because not only are they insane at team fighting, it's when you get to the mid game, they're so good at utilizing their wave states to actually pick off these objectives. And this is where, like, you can look and go, hey, you know, you made one mistake where, yes, you didn't win that team fight that was going towards that third dragon for, the second dragon for Mad Lions, but since then, they've established vision control brilliantly on this bottom side. They've been playing around it excellently, and yes, Wunder gets caught, but again, they're kind of hedging, going, hey, if Wunder dies, we will get so much more because of everything Mad Lions have to invest in that top side to make that pick happen.
And Mad Lions need to find another way back into this game. Their team fighting has looked better. Apart from that one play in the mid lane where Hylissang really broke the game open, Mad Lions were on top form. They were winning out in these battles. You can see Reeker with this tank Ryze build, something we do see quite often. You do tend to need another damage source on your team when you go for this. Fimbulwinter Frozen Heart, he has that. He's got an Aphelios. He's even got the Aatrox. He can put out quite a bit of damage. And if he's able to survive, we'll be able to rattle off those spells in these fights. Mad Lions setting up around the Baron, perhaps their last hopes against Fnatic here. 5 and 9 from two-time champions to perhaps missing playoffs. A loss here would not eliminate them, but their scenarios would go down to only 3%. Kaiser, Heartbreaker away from Razork. The chase is on, and Razork's a bit abandoned by his team here. He tried to get in behind the Chaos Storm. Razork will fall. Wunder going forward, Unforgiven. Pops the Moonlight Vigil, has to pop the blast, going to get away, and Hylissang's on the chase. A double once again for the Pyke. Reeker third, as Upset will take him. Unforgiven, number 4. Fnatic and Hylissang once again find the fight they were looking for. TP from Humanoid to the bottom lane, and Fnatic are done with this game.
They're just going to catch the waves. They're going to push them in. They can just move down towards this bottom side, and just like that, Fnatic, they find the fight, and they're looking to close this out.
The former champions perhaps keeping the current champions out of playoffs. Serendipitous for Fnatic fans. Purely heartbreaking for fans of Mad Lions. As I said, they do still have a chance, but every slim hope is only that slim a sliver at best, as Hylissang and Fnatic will shut Mad Lions out of playoffs. A superb win as Fnatic lock their spot in the top 4. And an incredible performance by them.
And again, we're seeing this done in a very Fnatic style. Hylissang coming out with this Pyke, finding those big moments in the team fights, playing around their wave states really well in the mid game. This is what makes Fnatic such a dominant force is, I mean, great laning, great team fighting, and their understanding of how to play the map is phenomenal.
Really good stuff there by Fnatic. I have been pinged quickly by Marcus. They haven't quite locked top 4, Fnatic. 99.2% of scenarios they lock it. So for all of you pedants out there, not quite locked, but a single result going their way will get them into the playoffs. And, you know, credit to Mad, they did have a strong performance. It's just Fnatic and their team coordination in those fights was just that little bit too good today.
But I gotta say, when you do look at Mad Lions, this was a, as you say, much better performance. The team fighting was far better, their setup was a lot better, and there was several times where it looked like they actually could have just about pipped Fnatic across the line, but unfortunately, that's the problem, is that it comes down to those 1 or 2 errors where Hilly just manages to yoink the Rakan off of Humanoid as he caught out. That was kind of, honestly, the big difference maker here in this game. If you win that fight, if you pick off Humanoid, suddenly you're the ones that are turning towards Baron, you're the ones that have control of the map, and this could have been such a different game.
It definitely could have, if not for the man we just saw on our screen, Hylissang. One of the strongest performers of his entire career on Fnatic. Your key player of the game votes at Twitter, at LEC on Twitter, Razork, Humanoid, and Hylissang. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. We know who it deserves to be. Great performance, obviously, all round by Fnatic. And after the break, Law will be joined by Razork and Upset. Oh, Razork and Upset will be our guests in the LEC post-game lobby. Don't you go anywhere.